Now we're into step 3. So let's talk about actually recording in Audacity. And I'm going to give you some instructions for recording in Audacity and then also instructions of recording in GarageBand. For Audacity, this might look a bit intimidating, but I just want to show you that the controls that you need are relatively simple. The first thing you're going to do is import your audio click track. So you can just click and drag it into Audacity, or you can go to File, Import, and then Audio, and then find wherever is the click track that you downloaded, usually in your Downloads folder, and put that into the Audacity file that you're creating. Then you need to create a new track. You'll hit Tracks, Add New Mono Track, and that'll create a track for you to be able to record in. And then you'll need to start and stop the recording. All you would want to do is hit the red button that lets you know that you're recording. If you need to stop, you can just hit the space bar. When you want to play back the thing that you just recorded, you can hit the space bar again, and you'll be able to navigate your mouse and the cursor to figure out where you want to start your playback. If you want to delete something that you just did because you didn't like it, you can either just hit Control or Command Z or undo. There's also a little back arrow on this main navigation toolbar at the top that would just undo the last recording that you did. Or you could actually select a portion of the audio and just hit the delete or backspace button, or select the audio and hit the silence audio button. So where you see this sort of wavelength and then a flat line in the middle, that just mutes whatever it is that you recorded instead of deleting it and affecting the timeline of the recording. And once we're in the software, I think this will make a little more sense, but this is a really helpful tool when there might be like one sour note or one phrase that you need to fix. You can just silence that portion of the recording instead of deleting it and messing up the timing anywhere else. Lastly, we're going to talk about punching in and making multiple takes so that you could pick the best one. So I'm going to go ahead and get into Audacity to kind of show you how you would navigate all this and be able to play around with it a little bit. So microphone is set, my headphones are in. Now let's get into the recording process. I told you step 1, make sure you have tuned. So I've already tuned my instrument to A440. I've got that done. Got my music set up on a music stand. I've got my instrument. I'm going to go ahead and import my backing track. I'm going to record the first violin part right now. I can either just find the click track and literally click and drag it into Audacity. When I drop it into Audacity, it's going to immediately process it and create an audio file that has the click track. I'll be able to hear this in my headphones. You won't necessarily be able to hear it as I'm playing it, but I'll hear it as I'm recording. So I just clicked and dragged it in. The other option is to go to File, Import, Audio, and then it'll bring you this box up. And so I would just navigate over to, here's Serenade click tracks, and I could open it up and click the file that I wanted to bring in. So here it's bringing that click track in and setting it up for me. So either method is fine. Let's bring in the first violin click track, click and drag. So here's my click track. Now I don't want to record over my click track. I actually want to record with it. So I need to create a new track. To do this, go to Tracks, Add New, Mono Track. It'll create a brand new audio track on the bottom. Again, Tracks, Add New, Mono Track. And here's a new track for me to be able to record in. Now you want to be careful because wherever you put your cursor is where it's going to start recording. So if I go right in the middle and start recording, I'm not going to actually be at the beginning of the piece. So now that I've done something that I didn't mean to do, I can hit the back arrow and undo it, right? Or I could hit Command or Control Z, or I could just highlight whatever it is I did. I'll record something again. Whoops, I didn't mean to record that. I can highlight all of this and just hit delete. It'll do all the same thing. So if you make any mistakes when you try this first recording, just go ahead and delete it. So I'm going to go to the very beginning of the track. I've got my music in front of me. You'll hear some silence because it's going through the rests. It's giving me that 2 measure count off. But I'm going to go ahead and record with the audio track. I'm going to make sure that I have this new blank empty track selected. Notice whichever track is selected will be highlighted. So I'm going to highlight the one I want to record in. I'm going to make sure my cursor is all the way back at the beginning, and I'm going to hit record. Hit my space bar to stop. So I just did it. I recorded my first thing. Now I want to go ahead and go back and listen to it. I'm going to try to get this to a place that you'll be able to hear it. So I'm going to switch over to my speaker. I'm going to turn my volume all the way up. I know this might be a little soft. I can use these magnifying glasses to make the audio file a little bigger. And I'm going to do that just so we can skip those opening rests. I'm going to start right here, hit my space bar for play. So I feel good about that. I did everything, relatively in tune. I was lined up with the click track. I feel good about it and I want to save it. But then I go back and I realize, oh my gosh, I totally played the wrong note. There are small adjustments that we can do. And I want to talk about that editing process next, right? So as it stands right now, I've got a first take. I recorded that and I decided to stop right where we had some rests. If I want to, I can go right back into this file. I can click here right where I stopped, where the rests began, and I can pick up and keep recording myself. Now, here's one of the dangers of that. Wherever your audio file stopped, that's exactly where it's going to start recording again. So if you stopped right after the rests began, there's no telling on this whether or not you began on the first beat or the second beat. If you have to jump back into your recording, what I recommend is to create a brand new track. So tracks, add new track, mono track. It'll add it down here. I'm going to back up a little bit before I stopped recording, and I'm going to start recording there so that I can understand where I am. If you just hit record again, it's going to start in the middle of a measure. But if you create a new audio track, back up a little bit from where you stopped and hit record again, you'll hear yourself playing and you can go, oh, okay, that's where I am. And that way you make sure that you come in at the right time. So now, and this will sound messed up because I'm going to let it keep playing through the speakers rather than my headphones. Now I can hit record and I'll hear where I was and I can jump back in. Circle A, 2, 3. So I'll stop it. Now, this is not going to be a great recording because if you look down here, you can see the clicks. Do you see them? Because I didn't have the click track in my headphones. I was playing it through the speaker. So if I play this back, see that you hear the clicks? We don't want to hear the clicks. That's something you should only have in your headphones. But there I was able to jump in at circle A after the rest. I didn't have to record it continuously. I could stop and then jump back in to be able to record myself. So that's what we refer to as punching in, is going into the track that you recorded and then just jumping in a different place instead of having to start all the way over at the beginning again.